Hey there everyone, and welcome to today's video. I'm so excited that you're here. Today we're going to talk all about how you are planning your content on Instagram, kind of how you're thinking about what you're posting, what you're doing as you think about it, all that good stuff. But before we get started, I just wanted to introduce myself. If I haven't had the chance to meet you yet, I'm so excited you're here today. My name is Tyler J. McCall, and I help entrepreneurs and business owners, folks like you, use Instagram in a more intentional way so you can grow your business. So first things first, I want you to jump into the comments and let me know where you are watching from. And if you're watching the replay, thanks for watching. You can probably fast forward for a minute or so, and we'll get through all this introductory stuff. We'll get to the meat of today's conversation. So hey, Kristen, glad you're here. Excuse me. So go ahead and let me know where you're watching from. And we're going to go ahead and dive in just a second. So as I said, today we're talking about how you are creating and posting your content on Instagram. And the reason why we're talking about this is because I hear from so many people that they're feeling overwhelmed, like all of the overwhelm when it comes to how they are planning their content, how they're posting their content. And they're feeling like what they're doing isn't working, or they're doing too much, they're not doing enough. Is that true for you? Let me know in the comments below if you're feeling some of that frustration or overwhelm. And I see we have a lot of folks watching from the Follower to Fan Society, which is my membership community where we talk all about marketing strategy. So I'm so glad you're all here today. And if you're watching from Follower to Fan Society, I hope you're not feeling the overwhelm. Hope you have a system and a strategy in place like we talk about inside the Follower to Fan Society. But if you're watching and you're not a part of that community, you may be feeling some of that overwhelm. So that's what I want to talk with you about today. And listen, I'm not here to just give you like some quick little tips and tricks about the perfect things to post on Instagram, or the 5 best photos to share on your feed, or how to figure out how to do like this post and how to write this caption. I'm not here to talk about that, because at the end of the day, you don't need a formula. You don't need some like tip or trick or strategy where someone's teaching you that type of stuff, because it's just not true. Because Instagram is not something where you can take this plug and play, post a photo of yourself, then post a photo of your product, then write this caption and use this hashtag. Instagram's not a place where that works. Okay. And a lot of folks are teaching you to do that, but that's not what makes Instagram work. Instead, what makes Instagram work is using it as a marketing platform for you and your business and your brand, and showing up in a really consistent way with your story, with your product, with your service, with you, and connecting directly with people. So we're going to talk about that today. You know, I teach my students, I teach folks like you how to use Instagram with intention and how to create that marketing strategy that starts with Instagram that's right for what you're doing. So let's go ahead and get started. So during today's video, I'm going to talk with you about 4 main things. The first is the dangerous habit of oh shoot posting, that many entrepreneurs and business owners find themselves getting into this habit. We're going to talk about why your current posting strategy on Instagram is keeping you and your followers stuck, some of the mistakes that you may be making there. I'm going to share with you how you need to think about your Instagram content. And here's the really cool thing. When you think about your Instagram content in this way, this is going to make your life 1,000 times easier when it comes to Instagram. And we're going to talk about the 2 questions that you should be asking yourself before you share anything on Instagram. And if you're not asking yourself these 2 questions, there's a good chance that Instagram isn't going to work for you and your business. Okay. So I'm excited to talk with you through that today. So, the first thing I want you to do is, if you haven't joined me already, I have a free Facebook group called the IG Advantage. And after we wrap up today's video, I want to continue the conversation with you inside that group. So if you're not a member of the IG Advantage, head on over to tylerjmccall.com/group and join us in that free Facebook group, and we can keep chatting about today's discussion. Okay, so the first habit, the dangerous habit that a lot of entrepreneurs get themselves into on Instagram, is what I call oh shoot posting. And if you want to use some adult language, you can change out the word shoot for another word. But the danger of oh shoot posting. So let me know if this has happened to you. You open up Instagram and you go to your feed and you look and you go, oh no, or oh shoot, or oh expletive. I haven't posted on Instagram in a week, or in a day, or in a week, or in a month, right? I recently had someone in the hot seat inside Follower to Fan Society and we were talking about our Instagram strategy, and I went, hey, wait a second, you haven't posted since March. What's happening here? Let's talk about that. What's happening here? So a lot of times I see folks who get into this habit of opening up Instagram, realizing they haven't posted recently, and then they get all panicky. Let me know if this has happened to you. Like the panic sets in and the freak out happens where you say, oh no, I haven't posted on Instagram in this amount of time. I need to do something about it. So they take a really quick photo of their desk, or they use an old photo of their cat, or they go to a page they love on Instagram and take a screenshot of a quote, right? And they throw it up on their Instagram feed. They like hastily tap away at a caption that may not really make sense or really work for them. They throw some hashtags on it, and then they put it up on Instagram, and then they do it. And then what happens to a lot of posts like that? What happens most of the time when we do the oh shoot posting and when we aren't posting with a strategy behind what we're doing? Well, typically the post doesn't perform very well. And if the post does surprisingly do well, if it gets a lot of likes or comments or turns into something, then we don't know why it did well. We have no frame of reference for why it actually worked, right? So a lot of times people do this, it doesn't work for them. And then what do they say? They immediately go to the place of Instagram doesn't work for me. Instagram won't work for my niche. Instagram doesn't work for my industry. My audience isn't on Instagram. People don't read my post. People don't see my post, right? They immediately go to a place of blaming the platform instead of taking ownership and taking responsibility for marketing their own business. You see, oh shoot posting is so dangerous because it is a huge waste of time. It's a waste of time for you because you're creating this content on the fly that actually isn't doing a dang thing for you and your business. But more importantly, it's a waste of time for your followers. And your followers are people, and this is what I want you to always remember. People who are following you, most of the time, there's a real person behind that account. Sure, there's robots out there, there's spam bots. Most of the time, there's a real person behind that account. There's a real person following you on Instagram. So that means you have an obligation to those people. And when you get in the habit of oh shoot posting, when you're posting without purpose, without a mission, or without a strategy, it's a waste of time to them. There's really nothing that they can get out of your content. So if you have ever found yourself in this habit of oh shoot posting, let me know in the comments, because I know it's something that a lot of our members and Follower to Fan were guilty of before they joined, or they may still be guilty of now, which I understand. It's a habit I fall into sometimes because I don't take the time to think about what I'm doing on Instagram. And here's the other thing is I don't want you to come away from today's video thinking that, oh, well, if Instagram is going to work for me, I have to spend hours a day or hours a week or hours a month working, planning, strategy, mapping it all out. It's just not true. It's just not true. We actually have a whole system that I teach inside Follower to Fan Society. You can plan out a month's worth of content in an hour. So it's not that it needs to be more work or more time or more effort. It just needs to be more strategic. So let's talk about why your current posting strategy may be keeping you and your followers stuck. So maybe you are not, an oh shoot poster. Maybe you are like more strategic or more thoughtful, but there are still some things that you could be doing that are keeping you stuck, but more importantly, they're keeping your followers stuck. So the first thing that could be keeping your followers and yourself stuck on Instagram is you're not planning ahead with what you're doing. So like I said, that oh shoot posting, that posting on the fly, or even maybe having like a schedule or a strategy that's just like a week at a time or a few days at a time. And while you feel like that may be okay, and here's the thing, you may get likes, you may get comments, you may get conversations going from your content. There's really, in the long run, there's really not a strategy there because it's not moving your business forward. And what we talk about with my students, this is how I use Instagram personally. So what I teach students inside the Follower to Fan Society is we need to approach Instagram from two main places, okay? The first place we're approaching Instagram is from a place of intention. We are intentional about everything that we create when it comes to Instagram. And that means that we have a strategy behind the content we share, the captions we write, what the photos look like, what the graphics look like. And listen, here's the thing I really want you take away from this is it doesn't have to be overly complicated. A lot of people, this is the other mistake we're going to talk about in a minute. People overcomplicate this. It doesn't have to be, but there's just a strategy behind that. It also means that we are strategic and intentional about how we're sharing it. Are we doing it in our feed? Are we doing a video? Are we doing it on stories? Are we doing a live? Are we doing a boomerang? Like, what method are we using? Are we picking to communicate our message to our followers? We're also thoughtful about when we're sharing it. We're really intentional about when we're going to put some time into Instagram. This is another mistake that people make, is they are putting a ton of time into Instagram, but it's into the wrong tasks. Or they're doing things on Instagram, or we're going to talk about this next, that aren't really moving the needle for them in their business. So, but that also means that we're intentional about when we're sharing it, and we're also intentional about why we are sharing our content. We have a reason behind that. We have a purpose. We have a mission. We have a goal. We have some type of reason behind everything that we're doing. The other approach to Instagram that we talk about, that I use for myself, that I teach my students, is that we are genuine in what we do. So we're intentional and we're genuine. So we're genuine in that we don't let our Instagram content get so contrived or so planned or so curated that it becomes inauthentic and disinteresting or uninteresting and just disingenuous, right? We don't let it get to a place to where it's just like so branded and perfect and curated that people can't connect with you, that people can't see themselves with you or you in yourself or in your brand, that people can't better understand you and your business because they're so just kind of, that people are really, y'all, the thing you need to know is that Instagram now in 2018, people are starting to be put off by the curation. People don't necessarily want to always see something that makes them feel guilty or self-conscious or jealous of the life that you're living. So that's why it's really important to have content that is genuine and that it allows you to connect more directly with people. And the balance of that intention and that genuineness is what allows your Instagram account to work for you and your business. And here's the really important thing. It's what allows your followers to connect directly with you and what you do. You see, without that layer of genuineness, without that genuine approach to what you're doing, without that story, without that mission, without those personal stories, that brand story kind of weaved into what you're doing, your followers are going to be in a position of you always kind of talking to them instead of having a conversation with them. So when we approach it from that place of being more genuine, it allows that conversation to open up. And here's the thing, your current posting strategy, okay, sorry, I lost my place. I got really excited. I lost my place. That happens sometimes. Okay, so that's the whole idea of genuine and intention. And we're going to talk about that more in just a little bit. So here's the other big mistake. The first big mistake, what could be holding you back, but more importantly, what could be holding your followers back, is when you are posting without a strategy, when you're just posting on the fly. But the other side of this, another thing that could be holding you back, is you're posting with too much of an obsession over the strategy. So this is the thing that I see a lot of people doing, and a lot of people kind of swing to this extreme. So they start out and they're not really intentional. They're not focused. They're not strategic. They're posting whenever and whatever. And then they hear from someone, me or someone else who teaches Instagram strategy, that you need to have a strategy, you need to have a plan, that you should maybe work from like an editorial calendar or some kind of strategic objective for what you're doing on Instagram. So they swing all the way back to this extreme. And let me know if this is where you may be right now, where everything is planned and curated and perfect and timed, and it just becomes really, really boring. Okay, so hear me out on this. I want to talk you through this. So many people get stuck in this place of wanting to make their Instagram account perfect in every way possible. They want the photo to be the best photo. They want their graphics to be the best graphics. They want them to be branded. And I see this like on Insta stories. People want the branded Insta story highlights. They want the branded Insta story images. And I use some of those things. I'll be honest. I use some branded Instagram story templates whenever my designer creates those, whenever I need to promote something like a live video that I'm doing. But I don't care that much about, recently I had a conversation with someone. They were like, well, how do I do Insta stories and keep them like branded? And I immediately told them, I was like, they don't need to be branded. Like, they don't need to be designed. They don't need to be perfect. Like, that obsession, the reason why, here's the reason why, let me tell you. The reason why they don't need to be that way is twofold. The first reason is it doesn't move the needle as much as you think it does. A lot of people think that, oh, well, maybe if I just had one more branded graphic, or maybe if my photos were just a little bit more crisp, or maybe if my captions were a little bit more zhuzhed up with copywriting, then it would work. But it doesn't move the needle as much as you think it does. And the other reason that I don't want you to obsess over this is because it is a way to be busy without actually doing anything for your business. So the idea is, and this is what I see a lot of people doing, they spend so much time and energy trying to have the perfect photo, the perfect caption. They want their feed to look perfect. They want to have this perfect grid or this perfect layout. They want to use the perfect hashtags. And that need for perfection ends up being an excuse to not do the work and to not post because it'll take too much time or too much work. Or it ends up being a reason for people to not share as much as they could share or should share so they can connect with their audience. They use that perfection and that curation as a tool to keep themselves separate from their followers, to create this like us and them dynamic where, look at us, these people, look at us, these businesses and brands on Instagram who have our shit together, who are posting all this incredible content, who are doing great work. And then look at them, these people who are just fawning over us and our content and who love what we post and who love what we share, right? It creates this false dichotomy, and it creates this really, really strong barrier between us and our followers. And then we wonder why no one cares about what we do. We wonder why no one is buying our products. We're frustrated by the fact that no one is getting on our mailing list. We're annoyed by the fact that no one direct messages us. Well, if it looks so perfect and curated and it feels like this branded, marketed, perfect machine, right? No one wants to talk to that. No one wants to engage with that. No one wants to send a direct message to that. And what I see a lot of times people doing is they swing to this extreme of wanting it to be so perfect, so curated, so branded. They're trying to be like the target of their industry with this branded, designed, perfect marketing strategy and plan. But if you direct message Target, they're not going to respond. So why would I direct message this target of my brand and expect them to engage with me? People are using that perfection and that curation as a way to separate themselves from their followers. And then here's the other reason. And I hate this. And I could hop on this soapbox for an hour and talk about it, but I'm not going to. I want to respect your time. We just have a few minutes left. People also use that obsession with the curation and the perfection as a way to stay busy in their business with tasks and work that aren't really moving the needle for them as much as they think they're going to in the long run. So if you take nothing else away from today's video, I want you to take away the fact that you can relinquish some control over what you're doing, and you can trust the process, and you can trust your followers with your content. And if you are doing all of this work as an excuse to stay busy because you believe that you have to be busy to be successful, or you believe that you have to work really hard to make money, or you believe that there has to be a ton of effort in your business for this to work and for people to think you're doing a good job, or that you have to put a ton of time and energy into this for you to be worthy of success in your business, you get caught in this really dangerous place of being busy for the sake of being busy, and it's not helping you in the long run. Sure, people will follow you or stay following you when your content is consistent, but your followers or potential followers aren't analyzing every single piece of content that you create and how it looks in your feed and how it sounds when they read it. And at the end of the day, it's not as important to them as it is to you. And I see so many people wasting their time with that, planning the perfect feed. And that desire for perfection is really, at the end of the day, a fear of allowing your followers to really see you for who you really are. And that's keeping you stuck in the same cycle of sharing boring, uninteresting, unauthentic, generic content over and over again. And it's also keeping your followers stuck, and they're unable to move forward and working with you or improving their life or business. So how do we think about Instagram in a way that makes all of this 1,000 times easier? Well, I want to share with you. We need to blend intention with being genuine. I want you to get to a place where you are creating content from a place of strategy and planning for what you want the content to do for you, your business, and your followers. And while you're also doing that, while you're approaching it from a place of strategy, I also need you to show up. I need you to show up as your true selves as much as possible, or as much as you feel comfortable. And I need you to talk about your story and your brand and your why and your mission and your purpose as much as you possibly can, so you can connect with your followers. you can blend that genuineness and that intentionality with what you're doing on Instagram. That is the magic sauce. Okay. That strategy, where that strategy meets that person, where that marketing plan meets that personality. That's what makes Instagram work so well. So there's two big questions I want to leave you with today, and then an assignment. Okay, I have homework for you. So get your pen and pencil out, pen or pencil, get a notepad, get your crayon and toilet paper out, whatever you need to do to take a note right now. There's two big questions I want you to get into a position of asking yourself before you create any content on Instagram, or frankly, anywhere online, anytime you're creating content in your business. The first question you need to ask yourself is, what do I want my followers to get out of this post? So how do I want to impact their lives? How do I want to leave them better than I found them? What do I want to give them? What do I want them to get out of this post? Do you want them to be inspired? Do you want them to be motivated or empowered? Maybe you want to teach them something. Maybe you want to challenge a belief they have about life or business. Maybe you want to make them laugh. Maybe you want them to feel closer to you. Whatever it may be, that first question is always, what do I want them to get out of this post? And this is what I've talked about before. I have other videos about this. You can check them out here on my page. But other videos where I talk about the fact that Instagram isn't really about you as much as you think it is. It's about your followers, and that's what makes all of this a lot easier. Okay, the other question I need you to think about with every piece of content you create is, what do I want them to do with this post? So I know what I want them to get out of it. Now, what do I want them to do? You need to attach an action to everything that you're creating. Do you want them to like it? Do you want them to comment? Do you want them to send you a direct message? Those are all great little engagements. Or maybe you want them to start thinking about how they can invest in working with you. Maybe you want them to start imagining what it would be like to have your product as a part of their life. Maybe you want them to make space for what you sell and get to a place where they are envisioning what it would be like to work with you in your service or to buy your product that you're selling, whatever it may be. What do you want them to do? What is the action attached to it? So those are the two questions every time you create a post. And even if you leave this and you're still in a place of, oh shoot, posting, or you're still in a position of overanalyzing and being overcritical, just go with those two questions. Always asking yourself, what do I want them to get out of this, and what do I want them to do with this? Now, this is my assignment for you. This is my homework for you, okay? I want you to open up your Instagram account, and I want you to look through all your posts from the past 30 days, for the past month worth of content. And I want you to make a list of your posts that were planned and the posts that were not planned. Excuse me. And I want you to look at how people engage with those posts and what it did for your business. Okay. So the last 30 days worth of content, I want you to make a list of those posts. What was planned? What was not planned? And then how did people engage, and what did it do for you and your business? I'd love for you to drop that in the comments below and let me know what you learned. Okay. So we're out of time. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's conversation. I'd love to continue this conversation with you in my free Facebook group, The IG Advantage. You can head on over to tylerjmccall.com/group to join in the conversation there. The link to this video is in that group, and the link to the group is in the description of this video. Does that make sense? tylerjmccall.com/group will get you into the free Facebook group. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being here today. If you enjoyed this conversation, if you learned something, if you're taking something away to use with your business or brand, I'd love for you to tag a friend in the comments below. Share this on your page, or share this into a Facebook group if you run or moderate a Facebook page and you think your members, Facebook group, if you think your members will get something out of what we discussed today. As always, thanks for being here. I'm so grateful for you, your time, and we'll be back here next week for the next video in this series, Tuesdays with Tyler, and you can tune in on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you then. Have a great week, everyone.